So here's a hot take. I think the term DigiCam is stupid. Fight me on it. I'm totally sitting at a kid's table at the park. They took away all the picnic tables. So I'm sitting at a little kid's table. I feel ridiculous. Let me preface that statement with a little bit of context. I'm a millennial, and I had the opportunity to grow up in a time where film was still a thing. And I had my own film camera, and digital cameras were not really commercially available. But I did have the unique opportunity, because of when I was born, that I got to grow up with the evolution of the cameras from film to digital. But the term DigiCam is so stupid because it's just digital cameras. This is what they're considering a DigiCam, and this is also a DigiCam. This could be called a DigiCam too. And what I'm filming on, and what I take my other photos with, they're all digital cameras. This is a Sony ZV-1F. This is a Nikon Coolpix S9050, and this is my Canon PowerShot A520. Now, since I've been shooting film a lot, I do see the allure of shooting with the DigiCam. You know, they have sort of that imperfect charm to them. It's kind of a Wild West type of time when digital cameras were first coming out. You know, everybody was making one, all sorts of different sensors and colors and megapixels and all sorts of different things. On this particular video, I'm gonna sort of focus mainly on my Canon PowerShot, the A520. So this one is actually my original one. Like, I bought this new. I think it was released in around 2004, 2005. It's a 4 megapixel sensor, CCD. Now, I'm not going to get specifically into, you know, the differences between CCD and CMOS. There's like 1,000 videos online that you can look that up. I'm sure there's probably even a Gerald Undone video about it, but needless to say, the CCD sensor is kind of what most people are looking for. The Nikon has a CMOS sensor, so there's that. This particular Canon has a true optical viewfinder, so it's not like a screen or anything. So you can look into the small viewfinder here, and when you zoom in and out, it zooms in and out to see it. It is technically a point and shoot camera. It does have a pretty good zoom lens on here. It says 5.8 to 23 millimeter zoom, so equivalent 35 millimeter. It's probably like a, I'll figure it out and I'll put what the equivalent zoom would be on here, but it does do aperture 2.6 is the lowest you can get on this. That part in itself is cool. This can shoot up to a whopping 2 frames per second. It can shoot video. It's not the greatest. The maximum it does is I think 640 by 480 at cool 10 frames per second. And I think it does like 320p at 15 or 20 frames per second. It's pretty junk, but back in that time, that was pretty awesome. And then the ISO range on this, you can actually change it. It goes from 50 to 400. The shutter speed's pretty good. You've got your bulb timer, and then it goes all the way up to 2,000th of a second, which is pretty fast. Good on you, Canon, for doing that. But one of the best things about this particular point and shoot, and I never took advantage of it when I got it, because honestly I had no idea how it worked, but on the dial, this has your auto modes, but it also has manual mode. So you do have your aperture, shutter, program modes, and it does have full manual controls on this. So you can control everything versus Nikon, which is just fully auto. If you're comparing a lot of these digicams to film, which is what most people who are using these are, some pros and cons between the two is, pros of the DigiCam. The cost benefit to taking and developing each pictures obviously it's always going to be better on a digital camera. Film cameras themselves, just for the bodies, are getting kind of, well, not getting, they have been for a while, and they still continue to be crazy expensive. You can find some good ones. I just found a point and shoot camera recently for $5. It works. I haven't put any rolls of film through it, but still, you know, you're averaging hundreds of dollars for film cameras, and then on top of that you got to buy the film, and film rolls can be anywhere from $15 to $50. Some are more, some are less. Developing costs, you're looking at anywhere $20 and up. If you want to get them scanned at the lab, if you don't have a scanner at home, it can be free, sometimes included in the developing costs, or sometimes it can be an extra $2 to $10 depending on where you go. The lab that I go to is really good. For most, pretty much all rolls of film that they have, it's $20 to get it developed, and then they'll scan it to a TIFF image file for an extra $5. So it's not crazy, but it does add up. Most, if you're not going to be printing your pictures, most photos honestly are usually viewed on a phone. So if you're uploading photos to Instagram or Vero or Facebook or wherever you upload them, generally you're going to be looking at it on your phone. So having a high megapixel camera really doesn't make any sense, because the image file is just going to be squished anyways. I mean, sure, it helps if you've got like a 50 megapixel camera, as you can get like super crazy detail if you're cropping it in an image, but a lot of the times you're not doing that. You can get that crazy image detail if you just zoom in manually. I don't know, there's that. And then the other thing, I guess, obviously going on the film thing, the media for this, for most of these digicams, are still relatively inexpensive. This particular camera uses an SD card, and I think the maximum it can read is like a 2 gigabyte. And I just looked on last night on Amazon. I can get brand new ones for like $7 to $12 for a single card, so which isn't too bad. And you essentially get unlimited pictures from that. The card in there that I have now is just a 256 meg card, which when I got this was huge. Now so some of the cons now, obviously, these cameras are starting to get a little expensive, which blows my mind. I'm lucky, at least with this particular one, since I said previously that this is my original one, so I didn't really technically have to pay for it. It's paid for itself long ago. But some of the more popular ones are getting up there in price. Like I looked up one of the more popular ones, like the Canon S90 and 95. I think, you know, they're going for like $150, $200 now. I mean, it's a 20-year-old camera. It's so super obsolete, and it blows me away. But again, you're looking at a demand for a product, so when there's less of the product and more demand, the prices are going to go up. It's just how it works. Now, if you wanted to make some prints, again, that kind of goes back to how the media is being presented. If you wanted to print them out, you're going to get good prints from, you know, like a 4x5, just kind of your standard 4x5, 5x8 type picture. But if you wanted to go any higher than an 8x10, you're probably not going to get the greatest printout from that. But you're not buying these digicams specifically for printed pictures. At least I don't think most people are. It's all for your Instagram feed and whatnot. God, I sound old. I'm not that old. With this technology being so old, it might not work. You can get mechanical cameras that essentially will last forever. More or less. They'll more or less last forever. But these ones, not so much. I know when I turn this on, one of the biggest things is that the shutter doesn't open automatically, so I have to kind of sneak my finger in there. So sometimes I'll get a fingerprint on there. You got to watch out for motors. The screens could fail, just things like that. I think there's an internal battery in this, and every time I turn it on, I have to set the date and time. Little things like that. I guess enough talking about those. So I think that's enough talking about sort of the cameras and my little rant and of why I think digicams are kind of stupid but kind of cool. Why don't we go and let's go take some photos with this and see what kind of images we can get. I'll post them up. I'll have the full set of photos either on my Instagram page or my Vero. I usually have some some good photos on there. So once that's done, we'll go. Oh yeah, that was another con. A lot of the DigiCams only shoot in JPEG, which I guess really isn't a bad thing. If you like editing your photos, you won't have as much latitude with trying to get things, but that's part of the allure, I guess, of the point and shoots, is that you take the picture and that's what you get. We're gonna finish my food here and then we'll walk around the park and try to grab some pictures and let's see what they look like. I don't shoot with the display on just because it eats the batteries like nobody's business. We're gonna try shooting vivid colors on the Canon. Canon's always got nice colors. I will give them that. We'll see what this looks like. I'm just gonna throw my bag back into my car here. Don't have a ton of time to shoot, so get as much as we can here. Let's go. I will admit that the smaller form factor is pretty nice. Come on, I'm using a ZV-1F here, so it's not a super huge camera to begin with, but this is even smaller. So random. Garbage cans. The whole, I don't know what I'm doing half the time. Tree in the foreground here. Focus over there. That's what we get. Everything's in focus. That's the other problem. It is what it is. Let's check it over here real quick. So now that I've found this camera, and I've got a couple other ones, I think one of the videos I'm going to do is sort of a shootout challenge, or shootout comparison, I should say. Set up my photo studio with some lights and do a few portraits just between this, a couple of my other point and shoots, and my phone, and sort of my, I call it my professional camera, but just my A6100, but with a nicer lens, and just kind of see how the differences between all the cameras look. Might be interesting to see. All right. Let's see what we got. Zoom out here. 2.6. I'm gonna take a few shots of this. See if we can get some neat angles. No guarantees. Gonna try it, but the sun, since it's lunchtime, the sun is like directly above. I'm gonna try shooting straight up through the hoop. It's probably gonna turn out like shit, but let's give it a go. I gotta go back to work. Whew. No Willem Verbeek, that's for sure. This is why we do this. Practice, practice. Back to the office. Whoa. Okay, so back in, I know I said back to the office and I kind of meant work office, but I realized yesterday when I was finishing up the video, I missed a few pictures that I took prior to actually filming with the Canon PowerShot. So I'm just gonna basically play them on screen while I just kind of give my final thoughts on working with digicams. I mean, basically when it comes down to it, photography is just whatever you want it to be, and you don't have to use a specific tool to take your pictures or show your story or whatever. Yeah, digicams are neat, and they definitely have that throwback nostalgic quality to them. And now that I've found mine again and have gotten into photography in general, as well as just the whole process of taking pictures and telling stories, or at least trying to tell stories, not necessarily the goal all the time. Sometimes you just like to take a cool picture, but you don't necessarily need a digicam to do that. You can always use your phone if you have a regular digital camera, an SLR, rangefinder, whatever. Obviously you can go and do it through film if you have the financial means to do it, because as I said before, it can get pretty expensive. But if this is all you can afford, that's fine, because honestly, you're not going to be printing pictures more than likely, and it's more for you and the things that you want to share with your friends and family. So if you want to see some other cool YouTubers, I'm assuming you probably already have if you're watching my video on digicams, but there's Lo-Fi Sophie. She runs the Instagram and website digicam.love. That's a pretty cool site, all things digicams. And there's also 2 cameras 1 month. I don't recall the lady's name, but her videos are pretty cool, and they focus mainly on the older digital cameras. I hope you enjoyed this one. I had a little bit of fun making it, so hopefully more filmmaking stuff to come soon. I'm really trying to get that done, but I'm procrastinating profusely, and yeah, it's coming. I am working on it. It's true. I know I keep saying it, but it's happening. Anyways, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.